What'd I tell you guys? It's always something, right? All right, let's try this again. Bogi! All right, let's try to get you in here. Yes. I look cross-eyed. Sorry, guys. How many chances will it take for it to...
Uh-oh. I'm
Hey,
here,
guys.
but Tiffany's gone. Where'd you go,
It's not
Tiffany?
working. Do you guys see her? Hey, Kenny.
I don't know. There you are.
Yay! I swear it takes forever. Okay. I had no screen, so I had to go out of it and then come back. Who knows?
Oh,
Dude, it
weird.
always takes forever. No, it's just Instagram. I promise you, it so very much hates me. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, good.
Good,
Quick
good,
question.
good.
Is there like too much background noise? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, beautiful. I've got the compressor going because there's girls actively working on the all-female build right now. So
I didn't know that you were working.
Yeah, girl, I'm always working.
I know that, but for some reason I thought you were home when we had set this up.
No, I mean, I'm in Phoenix, but pretty much because we've got
right.
this all-female build going. It's like,
Yeah.
we're trying to get to SEMA. Not trying. We are going
You are going
to be at SEMA this year with this this Volvo all-female build. So it's like every free moment, every waking hour, and some non-waking hours.
All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and start. My name is Tiffany. I am the founder and one of the hosts of Welding Women Syndicate, and it is my absolute honor to present to you Bogi tonight on Welding Women Syndicate. And you know what? First and foremost, let me just say thank you for being such a walking testament of what a successful woman could look like in the automotive industry. You've did it. You've done it. You're doing it again while championing for women. So thank you, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate your words.
So what do you think? The interviewer being interviewed?
I know, right? This is a little like, all right, we're going to see how this goes. Although, to be fair, when I interviewed you for my happy hour, you also turned the tables on me a little.
I can't help it. It's the Diane Sawyer in me.
It's the fact that we're both Sagittariuses.
Dude, I just found that out. So, okay, you guys. So, fun fact, I'm doing my due diligence and I'm doing my research on Bogi. And I just found out that we are just 2 days away from each other on our birthdays. I'm the 13th and she's the 15th. And I was like, I knew it. I absolutely knew it. But either
I feel
way,
like I have a couple of years on you, though.
No, you do not. You're only 1 year older than me. Knock it off.
It?
Yeah.
All right. That's good. I feel better now.
No, it's the tanning. It's the tanning, I promise. Okay, you guys. So I promise you this is going to be like a lesson in speed dating right now. I'm going to do like rapid fire questions because we have so much to go over. And I know you're super busy. So here we go. I just basically, like we all start, I want to hear about how the heck you got into this because I was reading up on you and I saw that originally someone was going to school to become a lawyer. So
yes,
can we just
ma'am.
kind of figure out where the automotive part came in here? Because what?
It was super random and I don't think it was something that anybody would have ever predicted about me. When I was in going back to middle school even, I was in love with Volkswagen Bugs. I was a little hippie kid. I was all about that life. I wanted a Bug when I grew up, and I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know anything about cars at all. I didn't come from an automotive family whatsoever, but I decided that my first car was going to be a Bug. I saved all my babysitting money and my lawn mowing money, and I decided to buy a Bug, right? So I was looking for what year to buy, what would be a good one. And so I started reading Volkswagen magazines. And you go back to the 90s, and the only time women showed up in car magazines was in high heels and bikinis. And I was like, well, that's not cool. So I decided, my little hippie, stubborn little self was like, I'm gonna buy a Bug and I'm gonna rebuild it myself. And I'm gonna be in one of those magazines and there's gonna be a hot boy modeling in front of it. Oh. Right? I was 16 years old. Right. This was my vision. So I decided to enroll in high school auto shop. I wound up convincing my auto shop teacher to help me restore my little bug that I had bought, my little $500 POS bug, and it like I got the bug, no pun intended. I got like the love for cars from that really unexpectedly. Like I went into it to kind of challenge things. I I got a lot of pushback from my school guidance counselors, from teachers, from parents, from friends, saying that this isn't something for girls, that there was
Oh,
no future there. And I got into it to prove a point, and then I fell in
yeah,
love with it.
love that.
So I went off to college. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I had this kind of dream that I wanted to do practice law specifically to work on like women's issues and work with like domestic violence victims and
Oh, wow.
rape and abuse and that kind of stuff. Like that was where my heart was. And then, but I really missed working on cars. I missed working with my hands, and
Yeah.
so like the concept kind of what I'm doing now kind of started in college, where I had this idea that I could combine both of my loves. I could be all about cars. I could be all about building things and making things and fixing things, but I could also be all about empowering and supporting and promoting women.
I absolutely love that. Now, fun fact, the first vehicle I learned how to drive on was a Volkswagen. That's how I learned how to drive a stick. That's so freaking hilarious, dude. I love that about you. Now, hold on. Before we even did that, I just had a little birdie in my ear tell me that you were a ballerina.
Yes. Yeah, I was like big into dance like most of my life. I started doing ballet and modern and jazz when I was probably only like 3 or 4 years old was when I
How
started.
cute.
And then I did it all the way through college. I did
Yeah.
pointe. I
Oh,
did
wow.
like the whole kit and caboodle. I was in a small like modern dance troupe.
How
Um,
cute.
and it came in handy actually working on cars because
Uh-oh. We lost your.
nothing, and all the guys in my shop class were super tall, and so they always had the lift set too high. So I had to like be in releve. So my dance moves came in handy when I was working on cars.
How cute. Are you really 5'2"? Oh my God, that's so adorable. I just like, no, okay, so fun fact, I was a gymnast until high school, and then I turned into like an Amazon because I'm 5'9". So I'm like 5'2". That is so adorable. I can't
I
help.
was the tallest of my friends growing up, and then I stopped growing, and they kept
Oh,
growing.
yeah, it happens, dude. It happens. Don't worry about it. Still cute. All right. So I've done like massive research on you, Bogi. I like super stalked you. So we've owned our shop. We've been a service tech. We've done the TED Talks. We've done the TV shows. Like, can you just tell me, because we've gone over like ad nauseum. I'm trying to get to something here. Can we just highlight your career? Because I really want the ladies to see what you can achieve. Because you not only have done automotive, welding, advocacy, business ownership, like, do you not know something? Like, I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, like, you are such an inspiration to me because, like, I don't necessarily just stop at welding. It began in automotive, and then it's advocating, and then I've had my business, and then I've done parenting. There's so many things. I don't think that there should be a limit, and you're such a testament to that. So can we just highlight all those cool little things that we're talking about?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, yeah, I've done a ton of stuff in the automotive industry. Like you said, I've been a dealership technician. I've worked at independent shops. I started my own general repair shop 15
Cool.
years ago now. It's been 2 years since I sold it, but I started it in my driveway. I worked my way up till I had a staff of like 8. And so with that, I learned how to be a service manager and a shop foreman and a service advisor and a customer service person and an accountant and
Yeah.
right, like all the rest of the things you have
Everything.
to do to be
Yes.
your own business owner. And I wound up selling it a few years ago. I started doing all girls garage in the TV world. Somewhere in the midst of that, I started teaching shop management classes, so working with other shop owners all around the country, kind of helping them, give them tools to improve their corporate culture, to be better to women, to give women in this field an opportunity.
Yes.
Started doing what we're doing here at Girl Gang Garage in 2017 with this truck. Was the first all-female build. And all of these different things that I've done, they're all fueled by the same thing. Like, I want to make my challenges and experiences that I had coming up in the industry, I want them to count for something. So it was challenging for me. I had a lot of pushback. I had a lot of like difficult scenarios that I dealt with. And if I can make that less challenging for those that come after me, then I'll die a happy person. And so whether it's teaching shop management classes and encouraging shop owners to give women a chance, both as customers and as technicians, whether it's through the all-female build where we're raising awareness about the women that are in the trades and the women who want in the trades, all of these things are all fueled by that desire to encourage more women to explore the trades, to keep women who are in the trades there and feeling supported, and help creating an environment that welcomes them, because we can attract all the women to the industry we want, but if the rest of the industry doesn't accept them, they're not going to stay. So It's kind of both. So that's my career in a nutshell.
That says a lot. Now I want to go to kind of when you had your own business. Now hold on. Now where is your glass, Bogi? Because I have mine.
I got to get back to welding after this, so I'm drinking tea. I probably still have a little bit of like syndicate. I was literally just under the welding hood, like right before getting on live with
you. It is. We'll get to the welding part. I love this. Okay, so what were some of the obstacles that you faced when you had your own business? And really, I've seen so many women who want to go forge out on their own, but they don't necessarily know how. What is some few gems that you could give them when they're trying to go out on their own?
Totally. I think it's interesting as far as like pushback or challenges. The challenges I faced specifically as a woman in this industry were more while I was working at a shop. When I had my own shop, I didn't really face a lot of challenges as a woman because nobody was walking through my door who had a problem with coming to a woman. Do you know what I mean? Like,
really?
It's self-selected. I didn't advertise. Everything was word of mouth. People knew that it was me that was the shop owner, that it was me that was the tech. And so you weren't going to walk in my door if you had a problem with women working on your car. So I was kind of insulated. I had this like bubble of supportive, awesome customers. Yeah. The challenges I faced as a business owner had more to do with the same challenges that any human being faces as a business owner. It's that most of us get into it having no idea what we're getting into. And I'm the last person to discourage people from starting their own business, but I am also going to be a very strong advocate for put in your time, get your experience, learn as much as you can before you go out on your own, because I see a lot of people they're a year into the industry and they're like, I'm going to start my own business. 95% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. And that's because we get into it for the wrong reasons. We get into it prematurely. We don't know what we're doing. And if what you want to do is work on cars or weld or paint or whatever it is, bake cookies, like whatever it is your thing that you're going into business for, if that's what you want to do, stay doing it for somebody else. If what you want to do is own a business. Those are two very different careers.
Yes. Yes, they definitely are. And you learn that real quickly that first week when you're the accountant, the advertising, working with vendors, having to also work on the build and hiring and firing. Totally. Firing is not the business, let me tell you. And I didn't have a problem with it, but it's not the way you make friends. So
you wear all of the hats. When you're a business owner, you are head cook and chief bottle washer, and you do everything in between, and you can't ask your employees to do anything you're not willing to do yourself, and if money's tight, you're missing the paycheck that week. Your employees are getting paid, but you might not be. So it's just all part of being a business owner and learning that, and I don't think most people expect that.
Now, what type of formal education did you actually go into to become, you were a service tech to begin with, correct?
Yeah, so I went to, after college and decided that I didn't want to be a lawyer, I moved out to Arizona. I went to Universal Technical Institute. went to like their general automotive technician program. By the way, if it's getting loud, let me know. There's like metal shaping happening in the background. So
no, it's okay. It's
okay.
Loud, but we can still hear you.
Okay, good.
As it gets louder.
I'm gonna pull this closer to me.
Okay.
Is that better?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, good. So I went to UTI, and then when I graduated from UTI, I applied for the BMW STEP program, which is like their graduate automotive program. Did that for 7 months. The way those graduate programs work is basically that it's free for you if you graduate it, like if you complete everything, and then a dealership will essentially buy you from these schools, so they'll pay for a portion of your education in exchange for you working for them for a certain amount of time. So did that, worked for a BMW dealership in New York, then worked for a dealership out in Arizona, in North Scottsdale. So I was in the dealership world for about 7 years, all told, became a master BMW tech.
Cool.
As far as business training, I mean, I didn't really have any when I went off on my own. I knew I was good with people and I knew I was good with cars, but I had no business being in business for myself, like none whatsoever. It was probably 3 years in that I realized, like, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And I was, as my roommate at the time said, I was either going to hurt myself or someone else. And it was, it was not good. Because I was just working too much. I was nonstop, go, 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 which doesn't always mean you're making money. It just means you're busy. And so at that point, I started taking all the business classes I could. I joined every like 20 group, every mastermind group, every business class I could find, everything from the Small Business Association and SCORE and all the rest of it, and like learned everything I could and rewrote my business. So that's the education.
Now, I also saw that you were the top 40 under 40 in Phoenix. I just saw that article right now. I was like, my God, this woman is just like, so obviously.
I was 35 under 35 too.
You're so dope, Bogi. I swear. Like, and this is the very reason I think people are like confused. Like, why am I interviewing her? She also welds people. Like, come on. But we're going to get to that. I promise. But you guys know, like, my background is in automotive and I had my own shop. So like, you know, with Jessie Combs, I saw her on TV one time and I was so busy building. I was like, yeah, girl, cool. But like when I first saw you, I think I was straight out of college and I wanted to come help with the montage. But that was during one of those weird times in my life where my house had burned down and it wasn't the, you know, best timing. And then it's just, I haven't stopped since. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One day I will actually do some building with you. I promise, promise, promise.
I know. I tried to get you out here, girl.
I know. I wanted to cry, dude. Okay, so she called me. She's like, can you come out here, like right before my vacation, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Can you come out here and work with me? And I was like, now, I actually just got released from physical therapy. So it took me basically a week after my vacation to recover from that. So I was like, there's no way physically I would be able to handle it. You know what I mean?
You're forgiven. It's all
no,
good.
I was so disappointed. Like, really, dude? Like, come on. But
well, maybe if you guys are lucky, I'll show you a little sneak peek of the car after, like, later on in our interview, and you can see what you're missing.
Oh, you're such a brat. See, I cried. I called Eliza and I was like crying. Like, I am such a little baby. I was like, not again. My opportunity to work on a car. Like, that's
hey, the year's not over.
You're killing me, Bogi. Anyhow, all right, you guys. So I promise you there's a method to my madness. TED Talk. How did this come about and how amazing. Now, this is where I stand on this. I like to highlight women because it also gives another woman a visual representation of what they can be. And because you're such an inspiration, you've done so many things across the board. Like, I'm just trying to like rapid fire, like, what about this? What about that? The TED Talk, how did this happen? And what did we exactly talk about? Because I didn't get to read up on the whole thing, but cool.
So it was TEDx, so not quite as cool as a TED Talk. I wish I was that cool.
TED-ish.
TED-ish, yeah, TEDx. So TEDx is like the regional, smaller ones. But so it was somebody reached out to me. It was a TEDx that was all focused on women. So all of the speakers were women. And there was somebody who had read an article or seen a news story about the montage
Right.
and wanted me to do a TEDx talk about it. And more specifically, kind of talking not necessarily about the truck itself, but about what we learned and what that process was like. Because the truck's beautiful and it's awesome and we get a ton of like great feedback about it, but the truck was really the least important part of what we were doing. It was the community that we built. It was the life-changing experiences that people had. It was the awareness that was brought to the topic of women in the trades.
Yes.
So my TEDx was all about that, and about the challenge and like how hard it was. Because what most people don't know, and I talked about in my TEDx talk, is I had no idea what I was doing. Like I had this idea to get together women and build a vehicle that was really cool. And I'm a mechanic, right? Like I've been a mechanic for 24 years, but I didn't know how to paint. I didn't know body work. I didn't know welding. I didn't know fabrication. I didn't know any of these things. And so my thought process was, well, I know a bunch of other women who know these things.
Yes.
So let's like get us all together. And then it grew. And then it grew, and then it grew, and then it grew to the point where we had 90 women come out and participate in this thing. And I was terrified. Like the whole time I was terrified. We were doing something insane. We were doing something I'd never done before. We put a BMW engine in this thing, which is flipping ridiculous. BASF had agreed to put us in a booth next to Chip Foose.
Oh my God.
Freaking out. I'm like,
that's so cool.
What have I gotten myself into, right? But I think that's kind of the fun of it. I had the benefit of recently reconnecting with somebody who was out on the montage way back when, and she said one of the biggest things that stuck with her of her experience working on the montage was something had happened, like the roof got oil canned, and she looked at me and was like, Bogi, I don't know how to fix this. And I looked at her and I said, I don't either, but we're going to do it. And she said that was the thing that stuck with her through all these years was, okay, so you don't know. Cool. Let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out. Yeah.
Let's figure it out.
I think that's so cool. I've been in the industry for a very long time. And not just welding, not just teaching, not just owning my own shop, but car shows, car clubs. And, you know, you really just didn't see women doing anything but posing. And so it's so cool that you created that community. Like I think it stinks that I saw you where I was, because in Arkansas, I had like zero service. So like I was like 10 years late to the party because I was busy doing my own thing. But how important do you think it is, like, just to highlight and advocate for women? Because I mean, you couldn't have had too many women out there. We are such a small percentage of the community.
Yeah. It's crucial. Like it's hard to explain because I get asked that a lot. Like why are you being sexist and not including men? Why is it just about women? And you know, as a woman growing up, you know, it was pre-social media. I didn't know that anybody else like me existed.
Yes.
And it was so hard because it's hard to not feel like an outcast. It's hard to not feel like an odd duck. It's hard to not feel like maybe there's something wrong with you. And maybe all the people telling you that you shouldn't do this, like maybe they're right. And maybe I can't do it. Like you hear all the negativity and it's hard to not internalize it.
Right.
And so seeing other successful women, seeing other women doing it, you know, I so firmly believe that if she can see it, she can be it. Like,
yes.
And for boys too, if he can see it, he can be it. Like we need to see images of people who look like us.
Yes.
So that we can, like, it gives us courage. I feel like it gives us permission. It just gives us that extra little boost of confidence when we are not feeling it ourselves. And Lord knows we all go through those periods where we don't feel it. So to be able to look around and go, oh my God, I'm not alone, gives you that extra oomph. And I think as minorities in this industry, women, like we need it. We need it. Guys can look everywhere and see people who are successful that look like them. They can go anywhere and work on an all male build. Right? Like I get asked that all the time. Like, why are you doing an all female build? That's sexist. What if I did an all male build? I'm like, you mean like every other build out there?
Every single build out there. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I promise you, until I had seen Jesse Combs, and yourself. And then I met Eliza. There was absolutely no other woman that I knew that had their hands on it legitimately. You know what I mean? Like, it's cute when you see sometimes a woman, she wants to try something, but I like to see like 5 to 10 years in someone who has like, some skin in the game, you know what I mean? And I hadn't seen that. Like I couldn't have normal conversations with women because they absolutely just glazed over and they were like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm, oh, that's cool. So social media definitely bridged the gap, but not enough where I still have seen very many. So when I started seeing your builds, it was so nice to see that community because I've just never seen that before.
I appreciate that. And that was like the goal. We wanted to flood the internet with images of real women doing real work and not just posing in front of cars, not just holding tools wrong, but like really doing the work. And, it's an interesting thing you talk about, like with the years of experience, like there's a whole new wave of young women coming in. Like I would say 80 to 90% of the women who I interview on my happy hour are in their 20s or early 30s. They're younger. Right. They're just getting in, and maybe they have 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 years of experience, but they're still babies, right? They're still just coming up. There's the handful of women I know who were like in my mind, the true trailblazers, women in their 60s and 70s who were out there like kicking butt when there were no other women doing this.
Yeah.
And then there's like this in between small pack of us that are in our 40s.
I'm 40 and proud, baby. Right, I don't care.
Right? Me too. But doing it for 20 plus years. There's not a lot, and I think a big reason for that is because we didn't have the support. I think a lot of women who started out 20 years ago, a lot of them didn't stick with it because there was no support. There weren't uniforms that fit us. There weren't shoes that fit us. There weren't any support systems. There was no visibility of other women in the industry. So it's like layer upon layer. Plus, attitudes are starting to change around women in the shop. And so back then, I faced some like pretty hardcore sexism when I was coming into the industry, some like really horrible attitudes. And I only made it through that out of sheer stubbornness. And,
You're not built the same. You haven't. Anybody worth their salt who has more skin in the game, over 10 years plus, you're just not built the same. You're not. So.
And that's stubbornness.
Well, you get to be the pioneer. You get to be the pioneer for other women, like they don't necessarily know what they can be unless they can see it. So just like you said, if you can see it, you can be it. And I absolutely believe that. Speaking about sexism, I'm going to stir the pot because I'm a pot stirrer. Anyhow, so I was on LinkedIn and I'm always stirring up some crap, Bogi. Let me tell you, I just love it. I think I was supposed to go to school to become a lawyer because my father also said I like to argue, and I still may do it, but it's true.
I might relate to that.
It is, you know what I mean? Like I'm very opinionated. I like to argue. I like to be right, but at the same time, I want to be right based on fact. You know what I mean? So anyhow, going back to sexism, so I was trolling the internet. I'm on my LinkedIn, and there's something, it has to do with the lady that just went out to space, right? And they're talking about it, and a bunch of men, she's explaining it's a white man. Now, guys, calm down. Don't come for me on this comment. And I make a mention. I go, yes, because she had written a book, and the guy was like, well, who cares? Basically it doesn't matter for anything. And she's like, well, I wrote the book. And he's basically questioning her when she wrote the book. And she's explaining like throughout my time in my career, this is all I've ever had as men feedback. So I'm explaining that, right? But the worst part about it, I get the worst feedback from women. And I was like, one thing worse than sexism is not coming from men. And I think I've had the best mentors, but it's female misogyny. You know what I mean? Like, really? That is the worst part. So I look at you and I'm like, all those women in a happy place? No way. You know what I mean? Like, I promise. I think I've had the worst experiences with women.
That's interesting. I have been fortunate and I have not had that experience. I mean, yes, definitely. I've met women that I haven't gotten along with, just like I've met men that I haven't gotten along with. But I will say that I find, people ask me all the time, like, oh, my shop was almost all female when I had my repair shop. They're like, it wasn't that awful, like dealing with all those girls? I'm like, no. My male technicians were more drama than my girls were. doing the all female builds, like it's not catty, it's not
Yeah.
bitchy, it's not it is so supportive, and it is so, I think people are just really united on they're connected and united by the drive to prove to the industry what we can build. Right.
Yeah.
So they're putting in their heart and their soul, and there isn't that competitiveness or cattiness. I do think that it does happen, and I think you're right. It hurts more when it comes from other women, and I think a lot of that has to do with that internalizing we talked about before.
Sure.
Like you hear the same stuff over and over and over again, that you start internalizing it. And I think we're told that girls are catty and that you should watch your back because girls are looking to stab you in the back. So we're told that so often that we start looking for women stabbing us in the back, right? Even if it's not actually happening. So it's an internalized thing, and it's a shame. But I've honestly not experienced it that much. I've had great experiences with other women in the industry.
That's internet crap, because when you get into I had one of my last classes, it was almost all females, and this was like the first time, and it was probably the most amazing thing that I've ever seen. And I laugh because, like, I think people like to base things just solely on what they see on the internet, and then you meet somebody in person, you're like, that was just like the most baseless response ever. Because I had 4 ladies in that class, and they were the most talented, they were most caring.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that. So I think it's really interesting, like you said, like when it comes back from a woman, you're like, really? As a woman, you should know better. You know what I mean? Like, if you have any skin in the game, you would not be talking like that.
Yeah.
So,
it's disappointing when it happens, but I also don't think it's fair to hold women to a higher standard either, right? There are really awesome men, and there are really shitty men, and there are really awesome women, and there are really shitty women.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I think overall, I've had really positive experiences with women in the industry being supportive and cheering each other on. So, yeah. You hear all the noise. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Now
we got some serious work happening right now.
I know. So as far as like mentorship, did you have anybody when you're coming up through the ranks that you reached out to, men or women? And do you think it's really important to have somebody that you could like just call and ask for questions?
I'm going to have to ask you to repeat that because I can't hear you now.
The tables have turned. Mentorship. We're talking about who you could turn to, when you're in.
When I was first starting out, I would say my first 4, almost 5 years in the industry, I don't feel like I had mentors at all. Really? My mentors came in a different shape. My mentors came in the shape of people who taught me what I didn't want to be like. Who were, sometimes mentors don't come in the shape we want them to. I didn't have any friendly, squishy, supportive mentors. I had 2 guys at my first dealership who were cool to me and who treated me well and would answer questions, but my official assigned mentor was the type of guy that when I went to him for help said, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it said you graduated school and you're supposed to know this. Why don't you figure it out yourself?
Oh my God. Are you kidding? Oh my word. Hold on. I have to put a big, huge shout out to mine, because I am actually very blessed with the companies and the men, because I think, yes, mentors play a huge role. And I actually was asked to do a shout out because I'm not discounting men ever by having Welding Women Syndicate, but there is not one place that you can go to that's just for women who are just in welding. And I know cross the boundaries, but I don't think there should be a limit. Once you're a welder, you're a welder. But Mike in Arizona, James who taught me, my brother, my father, I've had such great men in my life. So I don't want you guys to ever think I'm discounting mentors. I think it's really important to have somebody to turn to, even if it's not a man, even if it's just yourself and you're going and getting more education for the education that you don't think you had.
Yeah, I wound up with more mentors as I went further in my career. I tapped into and sought out. Like I found the Women in Auto Care Association and groups like that, Women in Industry Network. So finding groups like that and finding other small business owners, like I think I would honestly say it probably wasn't until I was a shop owner that I really felt like I had good mentors and good people around me that I strive to be like. Um, and fortunately, prior to that, I had great mentors outside of the industry.
Right.
But inside of the industry, I didn't. I had people who believed in me and supported me outside of the industry, but I didn't. I didn't have really. I had the opposite of support
Oh my
in the
God.
industry.
Right.
I had people angry about my presence, like not just not cool with it or not friendly, but like downright angry, like pounding on the table, red in the face, spitting when they talk, telling me that I don't belong there. Um, like I had the antithesis of mentors coming up.
Holy moly. And then look at you now, baby. So look at her now. So, who cares? You know what I mean? How do you deal with that? Like how do you go home and cry or you're like, you know what? Fuck you. Excuse me, guys, but that's the way in my head. That's how I think. Like
Yeah,
I don't care if they don't pay the bills. Maybe they do. You go somewhere better. You know what I mean? Like, don't
yeah.
ever lose yourself.
I feel like, in the beginning of my career, I think all of that experience kind of gave me a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. So
Sure.
for the first like several years of being in the industry, probably the first like 10 years of being in the industry, like I was ready to fight like all the time, right? Like because I wanted to cry. Like I wanted to lock myself in the bathroom and cry and I had to get the energy to bring myself back out and keep going and keep getting after it. But what it did was it made me like, people could say anything, and I'm like, what? What's your problem? Yeah, I can do this work. Like I was ready to fight all the time,
Right.
and
Right.
and because I constantly felt like I had something to prove because I was being treated like I couldn't do it and like I didn't
Right.
belong. So it took me a while to like shake that off, that chip on my shoulder, shake that off a little
Yeah.
bit, and I've learned now because I still deal with the same stuff. I still deal
Sure.
with people questioning me and questioning if I know what I'm actually talking about, and I've I've learned now that even though I want to get angry, that it is I take it as a learning opportunity. Like
Yeah.
here's my opportunity to talk to somebody who has a negative opinion of women in the industry, and I can maybe change a little hearts and minds by having a conversation with them about it. But I'll be real about it. When I was young, like yeah, there were lots of times I wanted to give up. There were lots of times where I locked myself in, not the bathroom because I didn't have a women's bathroom to use. I changed in the file room because that's all they had for me. But I would lock myself in the file room and cry until I could pull myself together and wipe the tears and walk back out and be ready to like take it on. But it's hard. Like there are times when it gets hard, when it gets lonely, when it gets scary and overwhelming, and you feel like you just don't have it in you anymore. And I think that's where the value of being able to see it around you. Why Welding Women's Syndicate is so important. Why my happy hours are so important. Why people being visible on social media, even if you're not. Like I have ladies ask me all the time how they can make a difference for other women. And I'm like, just be visible. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to do more than that, cool. But like, just being you
Yes.
and being visible, and some little girl is gonna stumble on it and be like, "Oh, is that something I can do too?" Like, that's how you make change, and that's how you support other women. Because
Yes.
you don't know when somebody's crying in the bathroom at their job, and they see your face, and they're like, "Okay, she can do it. I can do it." And they
Yes.
pick themselves
That's
back
why
up and go out.
talks are so important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think sometimes people just think, oh, it's cool. She's done all this. She's not human anymore. She has all these superpowers. You're still human. You know what I mean? Like you're a woman too, so I know it's not easy.
We are real. Just because I landed in TV accidentally, but I'm still. We're all still. No matter who you are, like I
Human.
put my pants on one leg at a time, just
Right.
like everybody else. I have insecurities. I have fears. Right
Sure.
now, I mean, let's be real. I'm doing this massive Volvo build, which from the outside world looks like I am confident and I've got my shit together and I'm like, yeah, I can do this, right? I am terrified. I have 2 all-female builds under my belt, but
Right.
this one terrifies me. I've got an incredibly short amount of time. I'm so like doing something so crazy because I open my big mouth and I'm like, it'd be cool. And then I commit to it, and then I realize how difficult it is, but now I'm already committed. So I got to make this happen by November.
I saw that pile of wiring harness that you were in. Holy moly!
Oh, it's insanity.
Holy moly!
I'll walk you guys out when we get towards the end of this and show you a little bit. But like, I get scared just like everybody else does.
Sure.
I have learned to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've learned that if I'm not a little scared, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not dreaming big enough.
Yes.
And I've learned how to, like, we all have that little gremlin on our shoulder that says, you can't, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not rich enough or poor enough, or whatever it is, right? Like, you're not enoughs, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've learned to be able to, like, still have those voices. I hear them. They're still talking to me.
Of
but
course.
To say, like, I ain't got time for you. Shut up. Like, I got ish to do.
Yes.
Right?
No, this is valid. That's why I'm telling you, that's why it's so important. I've had big people, little people, in between people. It's always the same thing. Like, we just have to be more confident. Like, and I'm scared every time I do this. I absolutely hate it. I hate being on camera. I always get stupidly nervous. I always think I'm going to trip over my words, like I'm like, do I have a wrinkle? Oh my God. Like it's always something. But every time a student comes to me and they're like, oh my God, thank you. I saw that girl in Arkansas or this or whomever comes to me. I'm like, this is the reason why you do it, for that visibility. It's so very important. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to negate you for a second, though. I don't think it's about having more confidence. And I don't think it's about having less fear. I think it's about being scared and doing it anyway. Like, I don't necessarily have more confidence than the next person. Like, I may even have less confidence than the next person. Right. I'm just stubborn enough to do shit anyway.
I love your honesty. I love this stubborn. It's something that I can relate to. I'm just going to do it anyways. Screw it.
I'm going to do it anyway. I'm terrified. I'm going to do it anyway.
Right. Maybe it's lack of common sense.
That might be. Like, I may be just completely ridiculously insane, but
who cares? You know what? Who cares? Keep doing it. We need more of that because, like, you're bringing together, you're championing for them, and so, and it's getting louder. No,
and it's getting louder.
We gotta get into the welding and fabrication part.
Yeah.
When in your career did you find yourself, okay, so now I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. When did we start getting into the welding and fabrication?
So I didn't get into welding and fabrication or paints and body work until the montage. So 2017. All of my career up until that point had been mechanical. And I honestly, like, I'd never been exposed to it, right? Like, again, I go back to social media and what we get exposed to as children in school. I didn't grow up around this. Metal wasn't a thing that was taught in my high school. I didn't see images of other people doing it. I never had the opportunity to try any of it out. So I went the mechanical path, and I love being an auto mechanic. But during the montage, I really got my first chance to weld. Like, I learned how to weld on the montage. And
are you serious?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And learn how to do body work. I'd never held a block. I'd never used a DA. I didn't know what a DA was. So all of it was new to me during this truck. And I learned from some of the most amazing women that are out there. I had the benefit of being in, like, a crash course of learning all the things from all of the people, and just it was just such an incredible crash course. The learning curve was steep. I've gotten proficient, but not necessarily good at all of it. Like, I know enough to get myself in trouble now, but I will say that if I had been exposed to metal earlier in my life, I might have gone that route. Like, I'm loving learning to fabricate, like, sheet metal fabrication. Like, the more tools I get introduced to, I'm like, like a kid in a candy store. Like we got an English wheel recently, and I'm like, this is so freaking cool, you know. so so yeah, 2017. That's when it all started, and
I
I love
love
it.
that. I just saw you and was it Jana welding the other day?
Yeah,
Now you're MIG welding, is that right?
yeah. I know how to TIG. I can teach someone else to TIG, but I'm not very good at it. Like I understand it well enough that I can see when somebody's doing something not right and how
Yes.
they should fix it, but I still haven't quite managed to get my brain to like tell my hands what to do. Like I get it, but my hands don't. So, and I need more practice. I just need more hood
Yeah,
time.
that's all that is with welding
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty comfortable with MIG. Um, TIG is after the build. After the build, I'll get some more hood time.
How about stick welding, underwater welding, flux
Never
core
touched
welding?
it. I have no
I'm
idea.
gonna teach you. It's gonna be my goal in life to teach you, girlfriend, just
Please
because
come
I
out.
want you to know all the things.
Come out to Phoenix and teach me.
I will, dude. I just love to see women weld. I think that there's something so very therapeutic about it. So I was going through your pictures and I'm seeing you weld, and I'm like, you look so stinking happy.
I am. I
Fun.
love all of this.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Fixing cars is really cool, and I do love fixing a broken thing, right? But there is something really magical about taking something that's nothing and making it into something.
Yes.
So like there's taking something broken and fixing it. That's awesome. But
Yes.
taking something that's nothing and making it into something is like, right? I take a flat piece of metal and turn it into a fender. I find the same satisfaction out of crocheting, which people like laugh and don't see the connection. Like crochet and building cars, it's the same thing. I take a ball of yarn and I make it into a blanket. I take a pile of metal and I make it into a car. Like
Yes.
it's the same satisfaction of like I did this thing with my hands and my creativity and my imagination, and there's nothing like that.
Even more, like, you know what? I don't think I've ever felt, I've tried so many different trades and I've had so many different licenses, but until I walked into the shop and that smell and that sound and the motor skills, I have never been so at home and happy in my life. And so that's just something that I want to articulate to other women. So when I see you doing it, I was just waiting until I didn't know that about the montage. So I've been waiting and waiting, and I saw that picture of you welding, and I was like, oh, it's my time to interview her now. Yes, because
That's awesome.
I have been such a fan, just I love the community that you've built up. And I think it's so very important to have more visibility for women. But even more so, furthermore, it's important to see them successful and out there and doing things for not just themselves, but to advocate for other women so that you're basically forging that path for other women, because there was nobody back in the day for us. There wasn't, one person on TV, not very many, you know what I mean? Like that's all
Right.
I had.
There wasn't even that when I was coming up.
Well, I have TV in Arkansas, so like, when I actually like had some service to do homework, I legit had to drive 2.5 miles to the hill up to get service to do my homework. And I remember like I saw the montage and I was like, oh, no freaking way, there's all girls doing this. So like it's just important, I absolutely love it.
I'll never forget when we did the montage, Barbie the welder, I'm sure you know her name, she called me and she found out about it through social media, and she called me up and she's like, you don't know me. She's like, but I have to come out. Like, I need to spend as much time there as I can. She's like, you don't even understand. She's like, I am 40 years old and I've never met another woman like me. I thought I was the only one. Yes. And like that impact, like the powerfulness of connecting with other women, like you said earlier, like not people don't always get you, like your other girlfriends didn't get you talking about cars and whatnot. Like I had my car friends and I had my female friends, but then I started meeting car girls and I was like, oh, these are my people.
It's just like a whole new world, you know what I mean? Like, like when you're having a conversation about a part or metal or something in the trade, they know what you're talking about, and you're like, this is my people. I love you guys, So
yeah,
social media for you guys that are new into the industry, you are so freaking lucky. We did not have that, I promise you. But I'm the same way. I just had Barbie on 2 or 3 weeks ago. She was one of my interviewees. And it's the same thing, you know. Now I don't care if I see somebody I like. I'm like, hey, can I interview you? I don't even care anymore. Like I
Yeah.
have zero filter. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm gonna ask the questions. I'm gonna watch what you do, and then I'm gonna ask you to teach me. You know, that's just me because I think I missed out on like 20 years of that.
Totally. And boys need to see this too. Like girls,
Absolutely.
I think girls need to see these interviews and women being successful, but I think possibly even more so. I think one of the biggest challenges that women face in this industry is that so many of the people we're going to work with have never worked with a woman before.
Right.
So for men to watch these videos, for men to see these interviews and meet all of these different women who are kicking butt in the field is so important for them to see it. And then when a woman applies at their shop, to be like, oh, this is cool. Like I've seen this before. Like I know that there are women who can be successful here, and to be more likely to mentor them and be open armed about them coming in. So I think it's, or for if their daughter says they want to be in the industry, like I think it's just as important for men to see this as it is for women to see it.
Yes, it's absolutely, and that's a really good segue. I was just gonna ask you, on top of like men, what do you think that they could do? Because we always talk about diversity and inclusion, right? But once they have the women, there's not a very high retention factor, right? So what could they do more? Like one of my favorite companies, I know you guys probably see it. I talk about them all the time. It's Arkansas Elite. And what they do is they go out of their way to tag their women welders to the syndicate, other, we highlight them. Like I actually flew out and talked to one of their students because I was just so impressed with her, not only her skill set, but the fact that the schools advocated, highlighted them, and supported them like 100%, not just as a trend, but 100%.
Totally.
Look at Anna.
Yeah. I mean, I think what companies can do more of is be authentic about your support, right? Putting a woman in one of your advertisements, if she's holding pools wrong or is not dressed appropriately to be working in the shop, then that's not actually supporting the cause. If you're supporting a woman on social media because she has really high numbers but doesn't really do the work, then you're not really supporting women in the industry. So
thank you for saying that.
Authenticity. Like if you want to get the brownie points as a company for being supportive of women, then you better actually be supportive of women.
Thank you.
So share images of successful women who are putting in work, who are really paving a way and making a successful career for themselves. Make sure that there are women reflected well in your promotional stuff, in your advertisements. Make sure that you can see that and that it's legit and that it's real. Make sure that you're not talking out of both sides of your mouth and on the one hand saying we support women, but then having women in bikinis in your booth at SEMA. Like,
Thank you.
Like at the end of the day, I want to be treated as a human being, not as a woman, right?
Thank you.
Like one of my technicians said the most profound thing years ago. She was interviewed for something at my shop, and one of the questions they asked her was, what's it like working for a female boss? And my technician, Brittany, said, I get to just do my job.
Thank you.
And I thought that was so important. Like she didn't want to be treated differently. Like she just wanted to be able to do her job. And so if we're going to be a company that supports women in the trades, let them just do their damn jobs in a supportive, empowering way that gives them an opportunity to succeed and grow and feel respected and be safe and like just
safe.
Yeah.
Let them do the damn job.
Do the damn thing. Yeah.
Yes. You know, it's so interesting because I was watching your interview. Is it Miranda with Volvo?
Yeah. Isn't she adorable?
Right? She is adorable. Yeah, that was definitely a mic drop. Can we just do our damn job? Nobody wants to be treated specially. You know, we all went to school. We all worked our way to that position. Let us do the freaking job, you know, like nobody's asking for anything special. Just let us do our job. Let us get paid the freaking same and highlight us. Tell us we're doing a darn good job occasionally. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't do it because it's like Women's Month. Do it because I work for you every single day. You know what I mean? I'm not a freaking trend. You're not a trend. And that authenticity goes a very long way. And you said you hit it. Let us just do our darn job and be authentic. Like that two-faced crap.
Agreed.
That's why I choose to just kind of stand my, you know what I mean? Because I see that too many times, like that interview with you, and then they're like, they show a picture of a girl welding, and you can't even see the weld. You know, I had one of these situations in class. Unfortunately, we were going through, and I'm not going to say the name, obviously, but we didn't have proper curriculum. I like to show a video and then I do a demonstration for each of them. But just so that they have a visual representation, I pull up a very famous company and we look at the video. Super cute girl, all about the marketing, and no up close with the visual on a weld. And I was like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I'm a woman, you know what I mean? So I go,
Right.
okay, you guys, I'll just do it my damn self because that was so embarrassing. Like,
right. Well, and it's like there's the fact that there's an entire what, like, is it, I don't know what feed it is, like some feed online. I'm so old and I don't know all of these things. Is it a Flickr feed? I don't know. There's like this whole thing called women holding tools wrong, and it's like legit, like the number of pictures that are out there of women like holding a crescent wrench up to their lug nuts, and you're like, what are you doing with that? What are you about to do with that massive screwdriver and your headlight? Like,
whoa.
What's happening?
Whoa. No, and it's funny because I think when I make a comment, they're like, oh, you're jealous. No, I recognize that she looks stupid because that's not even the right tool, you know?
Right.
Like,
and it's insulting to women and it's insulting to everybody, and it just perpetuates crappy stereotypes, and it makes it harder for women who want to do this work, who are good at this work, who just want an opportunity to succeed. So having images like that out there, it just reinforces those stereotypes that make it hard for us.
No, and I have a degree in what I do. I've taught in what I do. I have certifications in what I do. I've had my own shop. I didn't just go out in a damn bikini top and somebody handed me money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I see that crap, I know what a fucking wrench is. You know, I know what my welding processes are. I did my due diligence. And when I see that, I'm like, really? That's how you guys still see us? Even now? Like, I just laugh like, oh my God, you know, and this is how they're going to see me when I walk in the shop. You know what? Then I just own my own damn shop. And that's why I look for your, you have your, where they, so it's important for them to put up in these or they have to put or they don't have to do it that way. They're the ones that are marketing. No, I'm kidding. But no.
The good news is I think things are changing. I think things are slowly, right?
I know.
Things
Change
always happens slower than we want it to. But
thank you.
You look back 20 years, 30 years, not that long. Things were different. Things were so different, right? So it's change is happening. It just takes time.
Yes.
And the fact that you and I are able to do what we do, the fact that there are young girls going into technical school and being allowed to, right? I mean, my mom's generation, like,
there's no way.
She wasn't allowed to take shop class. Like, it was not allowed, right? I may have been only the second female in my entire high school's history to take auto shop, but I was allowed to. So that's changed, right? Now we've got shop classes who are actively looking to bring women into their classes. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's going to happen generationally. Like, we're going to see a generation from now. Like, I feel like you and I are of the generation, and you and I are in the position right now where if we do our jobs right, we will be unnecessary in 10 years, if that makes sense. Like, our job of empowering women in the industry won't be needed. And the next generation of women won't understand what was so challenging for us. Like, that's my goal. Like, I will die a happy woman if I'm sitting here preaching about women's empowerment in the trades and there are a bunch of younger women going, I don't know what you're talking about. We're fine. Like, that's my goal. Like, to not be needed. I don't want to be needed. What I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think it's coming. It's generational.
I hope so. I hope so.
I have to hold on to that hope, because if I
Yeah,
don't hold on to that hope, I won't keep going every day, right?
I will. I like doing it. I like trying to strive for the change. I just know that there's a lot of change that still has to be made. You know what I mean? But I love that. I absolutely got some tears right there, you guys. Yeah, we all know I'm a big baby, but that hit home real close there, buddy. I appreciate that. Well, I mean, we're gonna go into kind of the build that you're working on. Volvo, look at what they're doing. They just put you in charge of this massive undertaking. Like, holy moly! Can we talk about that, because that is huge? They're allowing a woman to be in charge of that. Like, holy moly! You know, and all these
It's
people are being.
insane. Yeah,
That's so.
I brought the project to them actually. I had this crazy idea. I wanted to do this. I thought that Volvo, you know, of all companies, they pride themselves so much on safety. They promote, you know, their target demographic, I feel like, is very much women.
I
Um,
agree.
and I was like, I feel like if any company is going to be on board with this crazy project idea that I've got going, like I, it felt like it would be right up their alley if I could just talk to the right people there. And so I kept banging on doors and I kept banging on doors and I finally found the right person. And as a result of that, like, it's really sparked conversation within Volvo, which is just incredible. Not only did they say yes to the partnership and they're like super enthusiastic about it, but company wide, this project is getting support, and they're starting to do more and become more active in seeking ways to increase their number of women technicians that they
Yes.
have, and how they can do more to bring more women in, to create more apprentice programs, to do more. Like, exactly like you said, like, as a company, how can they do more? What can they do? And so this project kind of started that conversation in a really big way for them, and I'm so proud to be a part of that. I'm so excited for them as a company,
Yes.
to see what they do with this. I'm excited for the women within Volvo, to see what they do with this. Talking to Miranda, she's like, yeah, stuff's already happening. They're getting women together. Like, they're introducing us to each other. They're getting us training. Like, it's, it's, it's pretty freaking humbling, and, like,
Appreciated.
it's pretty freaking cool. Like, I,
Yeah.
I, I'm
I want
really
to go buy a
excited.
Volvo. You know what I mean? Like, it's true. Like, the only people I knew that had Volvos back in the day were people who were transporting their babies, and they're all about the safety.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily in my realm because I wanted everything to be bagged or on hydraulics, you know? So you didn't see that too often. But that's definitely like protection. And to see them like actually advocate for women. I think that, if I remember right, didn't they send the women on a vacation?
Kind of.
Right?
They brought them all together to like see the main headquarters in New Jersey, and gave them some special training. And they're working on a bunch of projects that I don't even know the details of all of them yet, but
Sure.
it's you know, I think people see my excited face often, and I'm like super jazzed about it. But there's also this like very like kind of sobering, like, I'm I can die a happy person. Like, this is so big. This opportunity is so big and so humbling, um and I think I hope that it's going to bring about some real change for people, for individuals, for the women out there working, for more women who want to come in. Like, that a major automotive manufacturer is making women in their technician rank such a high priority
Yes.
now is like, that's huge. Like,
There's
it's
no hope.
overwhelmingly huge.
There's no hope there. They're actually doing it. You know what I mean? So to see it, it's unprecedented, basically. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I don't even know any other company that anybody has been like, oh yeah, I've been with this company for so many years and they treat me super well, and you know, they're advocating for women. I don't know of any company. So you guys, yeah, Volvo's the company. Somebody just messaged that right now. I can't necessarily see your comments, you guys. You guys are going in like crazy rapid succession.
I know, right?
If there is a question, put it in the question box so I can go back to it. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so like into this conversation right now, I can't scroll back all the way, but this one right here, it says, I appreciate that you guys are also helping to shed light on the companies that treat women well so that we can support them back. I mean, but
Amen to
Bogi,
that.
Bogi is working with so many, you know, like she's going out of her way to making sure that they're highlighting women and, you know, doing their due diligence. And Volvo is just like doing it. And I want to hear about that project because that was a whole bunch of a wiring harness going on right there. I just saw that last picture. I'm trying to get my comments to go down, you guys. So talk to us a little bit about the project that you're trying to do for SEMA.
Yeah.
Not
trying to do. We are doing. We are doing the do. So so this crazy project of mine. So we are essentially doing a body swap.
Well, yeah.
So unibody vehicle. It's not as simple as taking the body off the chassis. This is real ridiculous stuff here. We took a 2019 S60 T8 hybrid. So it's basically, it's a 4-cylinder engine that is supercharged and turbocharged.
Yes.
Puts out like 400 and something horsepower. Insane little 4-cylinder. So fuel efficiency and yet a ton of power. And it has a rear electric motor. So it's this crazy hybrid setup. And it's way wider and way longer than the car we are putting it under. So we chopped this S60 up into little pieces.
Yes.
And then we chopped up our PV544, which is it's a 1961 Volvo PV544.
Right.
Goofy little car. We chopped that in half. We took the body of the PV, we took the chassis of the S60, put it on top of each other. There's a ton of photos coming soon. We're actually way further ahead in the process that it looks like from social media because we couldn't announce it right away. So there was a lot happening behind the scenes that I couldn't tell people about. But it's insane. We're cramming 10 pounds of ish in a 5-pound bag. It is so much stuff. It is so much electronics and engineering and figuring out. We're incorporating some 3D printing into this. We've partnered with Stratasys 3D printers. There's an organization called Women in 3D Printing. It's all women who work with additive manufacturing. And so we're working with them and some amazing engineer women to create some stuff for the build. We've got some incredible sponsors, incredible women out participating in it. More are welcome if you're out there, if you're a technician, if you're a body girl, if you're a welder, a fabricator, whatever, come on out and play. We got a serious car to build. So
no, she's serious, ladies, and well, not gentlemen. This is ladies only, sorry. But if you guys are interested in helping her with this build, reach out to her. You know,
please.
I don't know if you have a link on your page, but even if you ask us, we will divert you in that direction. Trust me, you're gonna have so much fun. Like, I don't know of anywhere I could go that can get welding, fabrication, and automotive all in one, and then going to SEMA. You know, that's just so very cool.
Yeah.
Somebody said in 3 weeks. This is Jill Craig. You're lucky.
It could be you too, girl. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yes, there is a sign up on the website on Girl Gang Garage. You can also DM me. You can follow Girl Gang Garage for more updates on the build. I see. Check yourself was saying that they would be awesome if there was a documentary on it. We are working on that. We are working on that. Hopefully that can actually happen. But yeah, I agree. I think my biggest regret, I guess, throughout all of these builds is it's challenging to be doing the work, leading the group, teaching people, dealing with sponsors, and document it and post about it and do the social media. And I always want to do more. It feels like it's never enough. I always want to be doing more. So that's my biggest regret. I wish we had more stuff out there.
Come on. Gotta let her time.
I'm gonna.
You know this is a woman who has, you know, her finger in so many pies. You have to definitely leverage the time.
I'm turning my compressor off because
it's
like crazy loud. And I figure once that shuts off, I can show you around the shop a little bit,
Yes.
if you're all right with that.
Yes.
So, as I've been sitting in front of, this is the montage. That was the first all-female build, 57 Chevy pickup truck, got a BMW M5 engine in it.
Yes.
Number 2 is sitting right here.
Hi.
That's a 56. That was at SEMA in 2019.
Yep.
And then super secret. No, this is all going to be public knowledge soon enough. But bring you in to the break room really quickly. This is our wall of inspiration.
Oh,
So
cool.
these are all images of women in the trades. And then little sneak peek of what's happening here.
I love the behind the scenes. This is so cool. Thank you, Bogi.
So yeah, that's our little PD. We've got some metal work going on, some body work going on. Ladies are kicking butt. And that could be you ladies too. Come out and play.
Holy moly. I don't necessarily think I'm going to make it before SEMA, but I got a lot going on right now.
Lame.
I know, super lame. I'm sorry. I am lame. Super lame. Like, I don't even know what the time it is. I have no clue on any of this. Like, I know. I am so fired, you guys. No clue. I normally, I have another phone. It's not, I have no idea. No clue. We've already talked about all the things. And I told you I was going to try to go in rapid fire succession so I can get, all the things out. But truly, what is one of the main things that you think that some type of advice you could give a woman, period? If she's getting into automotive, if she's getting into welding, what's one gem that you could tell her as she's starting into her career?
Find your allies.
Yes.
Focus on the allies. Focus on the people who are supporting you. Find a way to tune out the rest of it or use that as fuel for your fire. And I probably the biggest thing is we are our own worst enemies.
Yes.
And I think part of that causes us to not seek out our allies. It seeks out, because if we're beating ourselves up internally, we will find people who echo whatever it is that we are feeling about ourselves. So it's learning how to get out of your own way and shut those voices up within yourself.
Yes.
And finding allies is absolutely crucial. If it's something you want to do, if you're passionate about it, don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody say you can't or you shouldn't. It's hard work. I'm not going to say it's not hard work. And not everybody's going to take to it right away. And it's not for everybody. But if you have the heart for it, if you have the passion for it, don't give up on learning. Don't give up on training. Don't give up on practicing. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do this. Don't let yourself tell you that you can't do this. Go out and prove them wrong. Go out and prove yourself wrong. Go prove that you can do this and go after whatever it is your heart desires, whatever that is, right? If you can dream it, you can build it. That's my kind of phrase for these cars, but that's also about your life. If you can dream it, you can build it. You can build the life that you want, whatever that looks like.
I absolutely love that. Now, one more. For the ladies who are advocating for women, they're already maybe a little bit seasoned into the industry. What do you think about having, we have Happy Hour, we have Feature Friday, we have Blue Collar Sisters, we have Slag Sisters. There's so many different groups. What type of information or what type of advice would you give to those ladies?
To the groups or to women that are involved in the industry already?
To those groups.
To those groups. Oh, wow. This is a tough one. It's twofold. So I guess my advice to all of these groups that are out there is what you are doing, the service that you are providing is so important, and it is so crucial. And it is so important that you're doing what you're doing. And the caveat that I put out there is this. We are strongest together.
Yes.
And while I love seeing all of these individual groups, we've got the body girls and the technical girls and the airplane girls and the welder girls and the metal artist girls and the industrial fabricating girls and like all of the different things, right? And that's awesome. But at the same time, we are all in this together. We all have way more in common than we do in not in common. Um, and and if we're all throwing a little rock at the problem, we're not going to get very far. But if we all get together, we can pick up a boulder. And
Yeah.
so I think there's an inclination. Everybody wants their own little piece of the pie. They want to start their own thing, and I get that. But I would say like we all of our little groups, like we need to find a way to work together to make bigger impact. And not necessarily split out into our own little groups as much. Like we all rise together, and when we work together, we're much more powerful and impactful. And if you're wanting to go out and start your own thing, like that's cool. I support you, but maybe think about finding one of these other groups that's already doing stuff and help them do it bigger and help them do it better.
Yes. I like that. I like the period, but yeah. And maybe get along.
Yeah. We have to get along 100%.
You're all women together in the industry, regardless of whatever your trade is.
Yep.
That's interesting because I know like it's welding, but we're engineers, we're automotive, we're painters, we're teachers, we're hobbyists, we're artists. It goes across the span. You know what I mean? Just bigger impact, just like Lisa said, together.
There's
absolutely.
more similarity in our experiences, whether you are an airplane maintenance technician or a metal fabricator, or you're a woman in additive manufacturing and 3D printing, or whether you're a painter or whatever it is. Like, yes, there's differences in our career paths, but our experiences are so similar, and there is more that connects us than divides us.
I love that. I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate your time. I think we're at an hour. I have absolutely no idea.
I think we're a little over an hour, actually, because I talk a lot.
And I crazy bit. No. This is because you always are the one that's interviewing. So I just wanted to hear some part of your side, like a more intimate feel of it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like sometimes people do more for others than they do for themselves. And I just want to hear about it. I've never really been Cliff Notes version of it, but that's okay. You know what I mean? I just wanted to hear it because I know so many different parts, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna ask her. And the fact that you said yes, I was like,
of course.
The visibility is important. You know what I mean? Like, I love highlighting women, but I love at the same time stayed. That's important. You know what I mean? So it's something visually for us to reference to and have like an achievable goal. And that's you. And I appreciate that. Well, for me, myself, you know what I mean?
I appreciate that. And I will always support other women doing this, and I support you and what you're doing. And I think together we rise. Like, we just gotta keep after it. So thank you for the opportunity.
So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I'm going to let you get back to your project, and I will tag you on this. And
awesome.
The one you said, women in 3D printing, right? I wanted to make sure I reference them. I'm going to try to tag as many people, you guys. So thank you for this, and I appreciate that. And I will talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Be good to yourselves, guys. Be good to one another. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye, guys.